In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome back to Marketing in the Age of AI. It's good to have you here. Today we are going to talk about how even with the shiny new thing of AI and all the automated outreach and bots doing marketing for us, we still have to be in touch with the fundamentals of human storytelling and talking to humans. And these fundamentals are immutable and have to be in our awareness through the whole creative process, with or without AI. And helping me understand some of these things today is Aurora Winter, a multifaceted entrepreneur and best-selling author known for her impactful storytelling and brand building strategies. With an MBA and a background as a TV writer-producer, Aurora blends her expertise in film and neuroscience to help individuals and businesses craft compelling narratives. She is the founder of Same Page Publishing and the author of the award-winning books like Turn Words into Wealth. Connect with her on LinkedIn and chat in some questions if you want to ask Aurora right now. Thank you for spending some time with me to talk about this, Aurora.
Oh, it's great to be on the show with you, Emmanuel, and I look forward to helping the listeners turn their words into wealth. And I find it's amazing that you're in Saskatchewan, which is where my first movie was shot. So that brings back fond memories.
I got to tell you, it's become an annual part of my year, my calendar, and I do it as much for the people here to see the friends that I have, just because the Canadians are such warm and welcoming people.
Yes, indeed. I'm a dual citizen, so I can.
There you go.
Glory in that. Yeah, I live in Los Angeles, California, but I've lived in Vancouver, BC, and other places in Canada for some stints.
Well, so you know, I'm not telling you anything new.
So yeah, I love the focus of your show, Marketing in the Age of AI. I think that there's so many great tools that we can lean into with AI, but I also think there are some dangers. And I think one of the things I really want to emphasize, so I'll get that out right away, is that your personal story is more important than ever in the age of AI. In the age where you can press a button and get random gobbledygook or average content, what is going to differentiate you is having your unique brand, which is based on your story and the stories of your clients and other people whose lives you transform. I think we're in the transformation economy now, not the information economy.
I'm fascinated. I have a couple working theories. One is, yes, these podcasts that we're doing, I think, remain the most important thing that we can do as business professionals, because we're actually telling stories and sharing with other people. And then the other thing is that the outreach economy is going to be radically shifted, and we're going to be back to a referral-based economy. So any thoughts on either of those ideas?
I think that it's more important than ever for people to know, like, and trust you. And you're quite right. A podcast is a great way to do that. That's why I have a YouTube channel. It's called Strategic Basics, which made me smile because I see your company's called Strategic Marketing. So we've got Strategic Basics and it goes with it. YouTube is the number 2 search engine. So I really think it serves us to have our content on YouTube. And I believe it's more important than ever to show your face on YouTube, because there's a lot of AI generated content. And while I do use AI with my team to make the videos more visually stunning with a lot of B-roll and some music, so it's not just a talking head, I think it's important to show your face on YouTube or on podcasts or other platforms that are video friendly. And then I think a book is more important than ever, surprisingly, because Amazon is the number 3 search engine. And if you have a book on Amazon, you can reach people around the world. And if your title is very clear, what is the problem that you solve? People will find you. And then the number 1 search engine, as you probably know, Emmanuel, is shifting from SEO to GEO. So I've had the experience of people finding me from ChatGPT recommending me. Now, why did that happen? It's because I've written 10 books and I have stuff on YouTube and I'm on podcasts. So I'm out there so I can be crawled, and the clever ChatGPT says, "Oh, you want help turning your words into wealth? Call Aurora Winter." So that's my 1, 2, 3 strategy. I think it is great to have referrals, but they're a little bit hard to count on unless you have a system for that. But if you are indexed in the number 1, number 2, and number 3 search engines, which are, again, Amazon, YouTube, and GEO, or AI search, you will succeed in the age of AI with good marketing.
Wow, I think you've just summarized the whole show right there. I think we're done, Aurora. I love it,
I'll
and I
maximize
agree.
content.
I have a number of marketing books on Amazon, and the one that is selling 9 to 1 right now is the one on generative engine optimization. And so I can confirm for you that it's an interest of people all over the world, both to get a physical book and the ebook. So it's interesting. I wrote it last October. We're rewriting it because it's always out of date the second that I publish a book like that. So it'll be rewritten and posted again in the end of October. So I love it, though. I love that you're focused on the 3 biggest search areas that people are using. But I'm also interested in your structure of how you like to craft the story and how you bring neuroscience into the storytelling for yourself and your clients.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Emmanuel, I have a background in film and TV, but you might not know that I've been obsessed with storytelling since I was 9 years old. So I've been studying story for decades. And when I got my MBA in 2015, I went specifically to a program that had a focus on neuroscience because I'm obsessed with how do people communicate anyway. And I think the really key thing that most people don't understand, especially if they're well educated, is that the message that is sent is not the message that is received. Most people have the idea, if I just download the Excel spreadsheet of my brain, your brain is going to receive that. And nothing could be further from the truth. So the more well educated you are, the more you need to listen to the 3 steps of how people actually understand and receive communication through the neuroscience of it. And you need to do them in this sequence. The order does matter. So first, you want to say something that attracts the reptilian or the croc brain. It's very simple minded. It needs to know, is this something new? Is this interesting? Is this a little bit dangerous, but not so dangerous that I shut down? So an example would be the title of a book, Turn Words into Wealth. That appeals to the croc brain. The second brain that you need to appeal to is the social brain, the mid brain. Human beings survived through millennia, not because they were faster or stronger or had sharper teeth, but because of community. So we are very tuned into who else thinks this is a good idea. What is the status of the person who is talking to me? So for example, using Turn Words into Wealth as an example again, for those of you on video, you can see it's got awards on the cover. So that is hitting the social midbrain. Other people think this book, Turn Words into Wealth, is worth having a peek at because it's won outstanding nonfiction book of the year that it came out. The fact that you and I are talking is appealing to the midbrain because I think you're worth talking to, Emmanuel, and you think I'm worth talking to on the podcast. So that is appealing to the midbrain. It takes longer to walk you through the 3 steps than it will for you to do it. And then the third step, tell a story, preferably tell a story, but you could also give a statistic, but give some content that can appeal to the cerebral cortex. That's your core content. It is best if it is a story, and it's best if you understand that different people have different filter mechanisms. Some people will listen for why, some people will listen for the who, some people will listen for the how, and some people will listen for the what. So see if you can come up with a story that touches on all of those quickly. I think it's great to start with the big why first and then touch on the others. And you'll notice, like the engineering clients that I work with who are starting fantastic nonprofits, they tend to communicate what. There's no why, there's no who, there's no how. So whatever your default setting, maybe you're a people person, so you will probably tend to communicate who. So just interrupt that and see if in your 5 minutes of content, maximum 5 minutes of content before checking in with the other person, if you can cover those four bases, you'll be away to the races. And I'll give you a little example of this because I gave examples for the other two. So an example of this would be on eBay, they put 100 distinct objects for sale with a story or without a story. And the ones that had a story sold for 27 times more. The same object with a story sold for 27 times more. So you should be paying attention and going, maybe it's not so important that I hire the right person or optimize my product delivery mechanism or my systems. Maybe the thing I should really pay attention to is focusing on telling good stories in an effective way. And honestly, that is in the top most leverage thing that you can ever do is learn how to communicate what you're up to.
I love it. That is very clear and structured and complete. Do you have like a workbook or a video or something that walks people through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the book, Turn Words into Wealth, which is a blueprint for your business brand and book, it walks you through how to create $1 million message. It walks you through some examples of $1 million messages. It walks you through the neuroscience of communication, which I go into more depth in the book than we possibly could go on your podcast. And actually, people can actually get the ebook as a gift from me with 5 videos that go into more depth if people more like videos. And they can get that at turnwordsintowealth.com, turnwordsintowealth.com. It's the entire 50,000 word book. It's not a little PDF. It's like the whole shebang. Or if you prefer, you can get the book Turn Words into Wealth wherever you like on Amazon or wherever. And there's links to those videos online. So yeah, I think it's important. That's another thing. I'm glad that you raised that, Emmanuel, because I think some people like to read, some people like to listen, and a lot of people like to consume content on video.
There are lots of learning styles, and we love asynchronous learning, and we have to do some things in some ways and other learning in other ways.
Yeah.
And especially if you're on the go, like we all are, then you got to have content in multiple formats. So,
Yeah.
um, I guess, what are some of the successes that you've seen from your clients by using your strategies?
Oh, it's been so amazing. I love working with smart, capable experts and entrepreneurs and leaders, but most people are not writers. Most first-time authors spend 3.5 years writing their first book, and then unfortunately they drop the ball right at the finish line because they don't test the title or the subtitle, or they don't have calls to action in the book, or they don't think of the book as the appetizer. So I think of a book as just the beginning of a relationship with the reader. You have to let the reader know what else you offer and how else you can serve them. So I've discovered that most people, if they like your book, they're going to want more. They may want to come to a workshop. They may want to hire you as a speaker or coach or consultant. They may want to get more content that they can consume for free, like the videos and book that I offer at turnwordsintowealth.com. Or they might say, hey, Aurora, I really resonate with what you're up to. Would you interview me and turn it into a book? Let's just make this easy for me. And you and your team, handle the whole process of publishing and promoting the book. And I'm like, yeah, some people will want to do that. And you can make a call, book a call to do that if you're so interested at aurorawinter.com or turnwordsintowealth.com. But success stories. So I've had a client who's a litigation attorney, and he still is making a lot of money and very much at the top of his career success, but he'd always hungered since he was in his 20s to be a best-selling author, but he couldn't quite figure out how to find time to do that until he decided to work with me. So working together at Same Page Publishing, I interviewed him a number of times to discover, okay, what were some true stories that we could turn into a fictionalized book? And I lined them up using my expertise as a film and television producer so that it could make a TV movie or a feature film. So you not only get a book, but you get potentially a feature film. And he loved the process so much that now we're working on 9 books. And his first books have already got 2.5 million page reads, over 100,000 readers, over 3,000 reviews on Amazon, over a dozen book awards, including the American Fiction Award. And the surprise bonus is he's actually attracting more 7 or 8 figure litigation deals, because when a big corporate client looks and says, well, of these 5 suits, all 5 of them look like they've got good qualifications. But this one, Michael Stockham, well, he's an award winning best selling author with a series of books that are legal thrillers. He's more interesting. Let's hire him. So he's finding not only is he getting revenue from his book sales, but he's surprisingly blown away by the additional revenue he's getting as a litigation attorney. And that's how it works beautifully, to have a book to expand your reach and reach more people as any kind of expert. And that's a good example, because that is the more difficult example. It's much easier to do with a nonfiction book, of course, than it would be with fiction.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm starting to see this a little bit more. That book called The Go Giver, which was a
Yeah.
business book, right? That in that style. I've seen some other ones that are for HR professionals, that where they're telling these stories instead of just saying this is the 7-step process for how you do blah blah blah, right? So
Right.
I think that's an interesting turn.
Well, there's so much value in stories. And I like to just kind of challenge the listeners. Think about what maybe you're not even a Christian. It doesn't even matter. This example will still stand out for most people who grew up in North America. Think about how many stories you know from the Bible, and think about how many of the 10 commandments you can actually repeat. And I think most people are like, I can remember 3 of the 10 commandments, but I can remember about 30 stories. So that shows the power of a story. So it's much better to have a story that's an idea wrapped in an emotion, than just give the idea, just give the bullet point. It's not going to stick as much as if you can wrap it in a story. I mean, that's my whole background in film and television. A great movie is an idea wrapped in an emotion. And I'm actually writing fantasy now, which is kind of cool. I have a series, a trilogy for young adults called Magic, Mystery, and the Multiverse. And it's fun, fast paced, sort of like Percy Jackson meets Harry Potter. But it's also got an idea in there. It's a little bit warning about the dangers of George Orwell's 1984 and censorship, because I think free speech is super important. I wanted to shine a light on that. So it's an idea wrapped in a fun story.
I love that so much, and I love that you're doing children's books, because that also is a passion of mine. I've got a bunch of children's books that I've written originally for my grandchildren in order to
Oh,
tell
great.
stories that were important to me,
Yeah.
that they learned about nature and about being alive and about observing and assessing, and telling those stories, as animals in the forest. And I think so. It's another little kismet thing that we have.
Well, perhaps we're aligned. I think there's nothing more important than inspiring a young person, because if we can inspire them to reach their full potential, or I like to say, inspire them to become the hero within, we can change the trajectory of their whole life. My life was changed when I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe at age 9. I'm like, wow, that's such a cool book. I want to become a writer. So, what age are your children's books aimed at?
They're aimed for about 4 to 10. So a bunch of picture books and then some chapter books also.
Oh, that's so fun. Great. I got to check those out on Amazon.
Well, so I love how structured all this activity is, and that you have a lot of ways for people to interact with your material through your books or your videos, or to hiring you directly. Um, so I guess what do you say to these people who know they have a good story or want to build a brand, but are shy or nervous about being the center of attention that way?
It's so interesting. A lot of really great authors and even public speakers are actually introverts. That it's something that most people wouldn't anticipate. But yes, the extrovert is into sales and marketing, and the introvert still has a message to give. So I would, rather than just talking about people being shy, I would encourage people to just consider the possibility, like, what if you were willing to share your story and that changed somebody else's life? Would that be meaningful to you? Not everybody has to have a book. Maybe that's not meaningful to you. But if you've gone through some significant challenges and you learned how to overcome them, wouldn't it be great to give somebody else the gift or the nudge that maybe they don't have to suffer as much as you did? And perhaps your book, your video, your podcast, your message when you're a keynote speaker could change somebody's life and save them years of suffering. I mean, that's what I'm basically doing with each of my 10 books in different ways. The book Turn Words into Wealth. It's like, okay, it took me a decade to figure out how to do this publishing thing. I made so many mistakes. Let me just save you a bunch of time and money and annoyance and aggravation and tears. Why don't I just outline, here's what I did, here's what worked, here's what I did that didn't work, don't do that, and give it to people in a book. And what I love about books is you can actually put, a decade of your wisdom and experience and insights into a book. But then when it's done, unless it's a book about AI, which has to be updated all the time, but then when it's done, it can be a gift to people for decades to come. You don't have to talk to each person one on one, but each person who reads it will have an intimate experience as if they were talking to you one on one. And what's really cool about books is I feel like they're like seeds. And like a seed, they can just wait in a dormant state for a very long time. But then when you open the book, or the reader opens the book, they germinate. The seed germinates when it's watered with attention. And so even after you are dead, you can change people's lives with your books. I mean, C.S. Lewis changed my life when I was 9, and he changed it again when I read another book he wrote when I was in my 30s. And in both cases, he was already dead. I mean, I loved reading books from, Rumi and other poets who are definitely dead. They're still impacting me. Or to broaden the example, I still listen to videos on YouTube by Louise Hay or by Wayne Dyer, and they've also passed on, but they're still making a difference. How cool is that?
I love it. Yeah, I see that. For me, it was Herman Hesse who really changed
Ah,
my life when I was in my late teens. And I think that's the beauty of it, of the written word, right? Is that um, it was given to me in a place where I would never have been able to find that philosophy any other way,
right.
right? And so um, that is a gift, and I think if we can get people focused on that gift of changing lives rather than their own shyness or whatever you want to reticence to be the center of attention, then that's the way to bring them out.
Well, what was it like for you? Like, how did you galvanize yourself to publish your first book?
Ooh. It was I tell you, it was my the first book I wrote was about marketing to Gen Z, and it was just a little stake in the ground, and it's always for me, because I'm kind of a blend of introvert and extrovert, and it was hard to put myself out there and be criticized, right? And which ended up happening on the children's books. Ironically, I had a lady give me a 1-star review because she said it's like a consultant trying to tell the story he wants everybody to know. It was a funny kind of like compliment in a 1-star review.
That was
So
so cool. Sorry, is there
no, it's
more?
okay. No, it's okay.
Speaking of 1-star reviews, I went to the Author Nation conference last year, and one of the speakers, Sasha Black, she had a keynote, which was half of it was about this 1-star review that she got. She had a screenshot of everything. They had said that her book was basically crap, but they'd said it was like Deadpool. So she's like, but I like Deadpool, and some people like Deadpool. And so she made so much money by advertising that 1-star review on other platforms. Like, she pushed it. And I thought, what a great way to not only overcome the whole 1-star review, like, personal attack, and instead go, you know what? A book or anything is not for everyone. It's better to have a dead hit for your ideal reader, that the children's book reader who reads your book, that's exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for what message do you want to leave? And it's fine to have 1-star reviews as long as you also have 5-star reviews. In fact, it's better to be definite and even be controversial, but stand for something, like have a strong opinion. Like, I have a strong opinion that free speech really matters. It's really important to me. I think it's the underpinning of democracy. I think it's the underpinning of everything that makes America potentially great. I don't want to sort of use that slogan, but I think it's important to honor free speech. Anyway, I have a passionate opinion. You might agree with me or you might disagree with me, but it's better for me to have a strong opinion than to be wishy-washy so there's no reaction. As a thought leader, you lead people in a certain direction. So what do you care about? What is important to you? What are you a stand for? What would you like to be on your gravestone? Right? So, mediocrity is in that hesitant zone of not trying to offend anybody and not trying to stand for any particular point of view. So lean into those 1-star reviews, because everybody who hates Deadpool, there's also other people who absolutely love Deadpool, as Sacha Black discovered and leaned into.
Well, I will. I'll second that, because I turned that into a whole series of social media posts, and
There you go.
have gotten a lot of mileage out of that 1-star review, because the words that she said were just so. It was exactly what I was trying to do, but
Yeah.
some way that was distasteful to her. Anyway, it's fine.
Don't try to please all the people all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And nor do I want to. Aurora, you and I can talk for the next 6 hours. I think it's been really great. I love your energy, and I love what you've learned and what you're sharing with the world, and agree with you so much. We will have aurorawinter.com and some other resources in the show notes. Is there any way that people to get in touch with you directly, on maybe on social?
Yeah, that's fine. They can go to aurorawinter.com. They can get the free book, Turn Words into Wealth, at turnwordsintowealth.com, or buy a copy on Amazon so that you can mark it up. I have so many people who yellow highlighted and put stars around stuff and post-it notes, because it gives you the recipe of how to create $1 million message and then how to launch your book as a bestseller. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thanks so much for spending time with me talking today, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Likewise. Have fun in Saskatchewan.
I sure will. Thank you. Well, what a beautiful encapsulation of why and how to integrate storytelling in, not just into your marketing, but into your professional milieu of being a thought leader. And encourage you to take a look at Aurora's book, Turning Words into Wealth. And I hope you got some good value out of the conversation today. I enjoyed it deeply. I also want to encourage you to take some time to find an AI tool that you can implement into your workflow and get some time back for yourself. And with that time, that you continue to upskill, that you continue to spend more time with your friends and family, and that you get outside and enjoy nature away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.